is the number one goal for someone to start investing? Anyone?
Make a profit.
Make a profit?
Passive income.
Passive income?
Freedom.
There are a lot of goals for someone to start investing. But the goal number one, the most fundamental goal, is to make sure that you have some cash flow. Let's go back to this deal. If this investor has only one strategy, that's it, to buy and to flip it, and the market change, what's going to happen to him? He's screwed. He's stuck with an expensive type of loan, and he still have to make the payments, and if he cannot sell it, it's money coming out of his pocket, and to some point he has to sell it to cut the cost if the market doesn't change. But because he already planned for some cash flow coming in, some rental income, he can keep the home as long as he wants until it makes good sense for him to sell. So usually when you start with investing, finding a rental property would be the best scenario for you to learn about the industry. And recently I learned about the pyramid. It's not a pyramid scheme. Yeah, but it's a strategy that look in the pyramid shape of highly experienced investors. They do. So when you talk about investing, you think about high risk or low risk, and it is always easier to start with low risk, even though it makes less income than a high risk. It builds a foundation. So if you have more low risk investments in the bottom, and then you start building a little bit more and more to the high risk, the risk of losing everything is a lot lower. At least you can cover the base of your cost with the low risk investment, and then with the high risk investment, if you win, you win big, right? So how do you know something is low risk or high risk? Something that with less unknown factors, I would consider them low risk, because you know the numbers, you know that it's working. For example, if you get a condo or a single family home with a tenant, you buy something with a tenant already. Do you know how much money is coming? And Chris likes those kind of property because he can fund the transaction easier. So something like that you already know, and you get a chance to get to know the tenants, you know if they're paying or not by checking with the seller. You know how much money is coming in your pockets. You may not make a lot of money with those already with the tenant. Why? Because if they already have tenant, they're paying the rates of a few years back when they start renting it. It's not today's rate. Sometimes the rate is really low. That's why the tenants stay for long term. Yeah, but in the other hand, you don't have to worry much about the house in too bad of a condition, because why they're staying there for too long and the seller didn't fix it already, right? So when you start off with this thing, you kind of have your feet wet. You only need to learn how to maybe deal with the tenants, how to handle the issue, maybe some basic fixing, but you don't have to put in a lot of money to start off with. And then when you're used to it, you may want to do something with more variety, more risk, but earn you more income. For example, short-term rental. Valerie may disagree with me on this because she's an expert with short-term rental. But when I first started off, I bought the house and it took me 2 years to finally put it on market for a short-term rental, even though I bought it for that reason. After I bought the house, anybody's going to rent my house? Are they going to trash my house? I have a lot of unknown, and because there are new guests every few days, I was scared. So with short-term rental, your income is less predictable in that sense, because you don't know for sure a check is coming to you next month or so. But in the other hand, you can usually charge more for short-term rental, or like Valerie told us about the service that you can rent for hourly for an event. Yeah, it's going to be higher return on investment. And then maybe you move up to commercial. I didn't even spell it right. But commercial, everybody needs a place to live, but not everybody needs a shop, right? But in the other hand, with those kind of investment, you're talking about either a multifamily complex, apartment complex, or a shopping center that you can purchase. It requires a lot more investment, but also it will bring in more income. And then what is the highest one? it's probably like the flipping, especially if you flip in the high end scale when there's a lot of unknown factors. For example, this house, how do you know how much it's gonna cost to flip it? Either you're a constructor and you have a lot of experience, or you have to rely on somebody. And if your number is up a little bit, you may end up losing the money because appreciation is the only strategy you have for flipping. So, like I mentioned, this is not like these are not something that you should do at all, but these are just more advanced type of investments that it will take some time to get used to. So when you start off, yeah, I would highly recommend to consider something in the bottom and move up gradually.